She had no idea he could see her. His heart raced. After 18 years of marriage, it felt like she couldn't surprise him anymore. But he was very wrong. He watched in secrecy as he took her hair down from her ponytail and began brushing it through with her fingers. His stomach flipped as his breath became heavy with anger. Hey everyone, John and his wife Donna live together in a nice house in Honesdale, Pennsylvania. They have been married for 18 years and never experienced any marital problems until now. John and Donna had 2 beautiful kids, polite and well-behaved. The household was a loving one, and for John everything seemed perfect, as if it was too good to be true, and it was. Despite having the odd fight and arguments, John and his wife gelled so well. They seemed like the perfect couple. He loved his wife dearly and thought the feeling was mutual. But when he started noticing something wasn't quite right with Donna, it all started when he noticed a change in her work life and questioned her about it. John worked from home and Donna worked at the local pharmacy. She walked to and back from work every day. But when she started arriving home late from work a lot, that's when things got weird. She started to wear makeup again and dressed better. When John asked about it, she answered strangely. He tried to forget about it, but he couldn't help but feel suspicious. John couldn't let it go. He needed to find out what was going on. But how could he do that without her knowing? If John asked her about it again or interrogated her, there's no doubt it would have turned into a big fight. After all, trust is the foundation of any relationship, and if he was questioning that, that was a big deal. John was a photographer, so he naturally turned to his equipment and his observation skills for help. He decided that his best option to secretly find out what she was up to was to follow her to and from work with his drone, flying it secretly overhead behind her. It was a decision he'd live to regret. The next day, he put his plan into action. He felt bad about deceiving her, but he couldn't shake his suspicion, and he didn't know what else to do, so he followed through with his calculated plan. His heart pounded as he kissed her goodbye and watched her leave. He raced to his room, took out his drone, and went outside for it to take flight after her. Anxiously, he waited outside, keeping his eyes fixated on the handheld device to control and look at what the drone was capturing. At first, everything was fine, but then she took an unexpected turn in the opposite direction of her pharmacy. She was going in the wrong direction. John's heart sank. Where was she going? John's blood ran cold as he watched her walk towards an unfamiliar location. She eventually arrived at a car lot where a strange car was waiting for her. She took her hair down from her ponytail and began brushing it through with her fingers. John's heart pounded. He felt sick to his stomach. His breath became heavy with fury. He watched in horror as his wife bent down to the driver's seat window and kissed the person on the side of the cheek. Then she walked around to the passenger seat and got in. John couldn't keep watching. He had seen enough. He brought his drone back home, took it inside with him, and his world caved in. How could she do this? More importantly, what was he going to do about it? He decided to confront her immediately when she got home. He waited painfully and anxiously for her to return home that day. When she finally came home, he just stood there shaking. With his heart pounding and eyes tearing, he spoke to her through clenched teeth. He told her what he had seen and asked what she had been doing. Donna was asked to help out at a pharmacy in the next town over. She put on makeup and dressed better to make a good impression. She walked to the car park every day where her coworker and friend Marissa picked her up and drove her to work together. She told him about this so many times before, but he forgot. When he asked again the last time, she was so annoyed about it that she answered vaguely. A wave of relief and guilt washed over John. Suddenly, he remembered. Somewhere in the very dark corners of his mind, he remembered that she said this before. He could not believe he got it so wrong. What must she think of him? Especially now, knowing that he followed her, even spied on her, to find out something that he actually knew all along. How did she react? Of course she was angry with him. She was in shock that he'd go to such lengths to try to catch her in a lie. She asked him to learn about this and not do it again. An argument ensued, but they eventually worked it out. Still, she made sure he listened better from now on, and he eventually made up for his untrusting behavior. And how? Well, since then, their relationship has gotten stronger, mostly because John pays better attention now. But what do you think? If your partner did that to you, would you be understanding? Do you think Donna was too understanding with John? Either way, he hasn't done anything like that since. So we guess all's well that ends well. Did you like the story? Check out our channel for more.